What's going on, y'all? Spikes here. Yo, look, today we kind of need to go over something that's kind of been a hot topic of late. That's AFKing in zones, mostly really in combat sectors is what I'm talking about. It's kind of been a hot topic as of late. So I'm kind of going to explain to you here why, this is kind of an issue for those of you who may not really understand why it's an issue, and, just giving you the information that you need to understand, why people might get upset by it, right? So let's dive right into it. Combat sectors, dude. Let's just start right there, dude. This is why you don't do this. Why you do not AFK in combat sectors. And when I say AFK, I mean like long-term AFK. You're doing it intentionally, right? So I'm like, if you need to go to the restroom, you AFK. Like, of course, that's understandable. But I'm saying like AFK and long-term AFK, or to even go further on it, leeching, right? So this is why you do not do it. And some people just do not understand this. And I actually got into a conversation with someone the other day on Twitter who just was like, they were really trying to die on that horse, like, where it's like, oh no, it's not a big deal, it's not a deal. And I'm trying to explain it to them in the best way that I can, but they would not listen. So I figured I'd make a video so that way everyone can understand it a bit better, right? So first and foremost, it's disrespectful. It's disrespectful. You have to understand that not everyone is playing on your time, right? Everyone has their own time, that their own time schedule that they're doing stuff in, their own time that they have to get stuff done, right? So when you go into a zone and you AFK intentionally, long-term AFK, or you're going to a combat zone, you're sitting there and not contributing to the combat zone, then you're basically saying, hey, F you, my time is more valuable than your time. That's basically what you're saying, and that's why it's so disrespectful and why you should not do that. Okay, it's plain and simple. It's disrespectful. It makes you look very selfish, and it makes you look very just, way too much into yourself, right? Okay. Oh, by the way, for those who may not know me, I produce a lot of other different content, and I play PSO. I've been playing PSO since Dreamcast, so I'm very familiar with the game, very familiar with all the concepts and everything like that. Always like to help others out, so if you ever see me in the game, wave at me, for sure. Number two, it slows down the room. It slows down the combat sector room, because there's 8 people that can be in the combat sector, right? So it slows down the entire room when you have people who are not participating in that room with everyone else, right? This goes back again to being disrespectful as well, But you have 8 people there and 2 people are AFK. You're slowing down everything in the room, because look at it like this. I can't remember if combat sectors scale. Of course, exploration zones do, but I can't remember if combat sectors scale the way that exploration zones do. But regardless, you have 2 people, so now it's 6 of 8, and you're killing these mobs. And regardless if it scales or not, you're slowing down the room. You're slowing down the pace of what rare drops could be happening, of how many mobs can be killed during a PSE burst. You know what I'm saying? Of how many mobs are being killed, period. You're slowing, so that means that you're slowing down people making money as well, because you're not participating, because you're AFKing, because you're not being considerate of the other players around you. Okay, so like, you have to understand that as well. You're not being considerate of that, because because you don't care. Okay, think about that. And it ruins the experience for others. It completely ruins the experience for others, because when you go into a combat sector, it's called a combat sector for a reason. Combat sector, right? Combat sector. Let's go to Newsom Plant. Let's go chill on Newsom Plant. Now, it's called a combat sector for a reason, right? Because you're supposed to be doing combat in these combat sectors.
PSE burst.
Well, yeah, we walked right into a PSE burst. Now, isn't that great? But we're not going to sit here, because we're not actually going to contribute, because we're making a video right now. But isn't this a pretty zone anyways? Okay. But it's called a combat sector for a reason. You should be doing combat in this combat sector Plain and simple. There's no ands, if, or buts about that. You should be doing combat inside the combat sector. It ruins the experience for others because now when you go into these zones, you expect to be doing combat. 8 of 8 people combat. That's why there's 8 of 8. That's why they can be 8 people in there. That's why I say combat sector. Combat, not exploration. When you're exploration, you explore. You AFK, you explore. When it's a combat sector, you're supposed to be doing combat, right? So that's what you should be doing. This place is foggy. It's all booty. Wow, why is it so foggy? It's a foggy zone. So keep that in mind, that you're supposed to be doing 8 of 8 people, and everyone should be able to experience that. So do not ruin the experience for others. It's that simple. It is that simple. By the way, please like the video and subscribe to the channel to help support the growth of positivity within the gaming community. Thank you. And you know, some people just really don't get that. Like, they think that, oh well, you know, not everyone's there to be combating at a fast pace and stuff like that. Then maybe you shouldn't be there. You know what I'm saying? Or people, someone on Twitter told me the other day, I was like, well, you know, some people are just there to do their dailies or whatnot. Listen, dailies in the combat sector take all of 3 minutes. It's like kill 50 mobs. It takes all of like 3 minutes. It takes 1 minute if you walk into a PSE burst. Do it and then leave. It's not even complicated, not even remotely complicated. That is not an excuse. Do not try to use that as an excuse. It is rude to go into a combat sector in the AFK, long-term AFK, or even get on Leeching. I didn't even really touch on Leeching much in this video because that's a whole nother thing, but it's the same concept. It's the same concept. You shouldn't be leeching either. And you know, nowadays we've seen that a lot of people are starting to report these players, which is great. I want to say to everyone who's doing that, continue to keep doing that. Report those players who are long-term AFK, who are long-term leeching. Try not to make that a norm around here, because it should not be a norm. It ruins the experience, and ultimately what happens is you see one person doing it and then another person be like, oh well, that person's AFK, well I guess if they can do it, I can do it too. It's not fair that they doing it and I can't do it. So now they go and they AFK, and now it's just boom 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 boom, and now you just have a cycle of people constantly just wanting to be AFKers and just leeching. And now, in terms of such as the new limited quests, as of the making of this video, we currently have the first 24 limited quests, 24 people limited quests, right? And so we're seeing now and there where it's like people will, instead of AFK, they'll come in and they'll just do a simplify action. So they'll just basically hold left click and then tab out and just let their character attack. So it appears as if they're not AFK, but they actually are AFK. And so, sure, it's like, oh, okay, well, I guess technically speaking, they're not AFK, right? But think about that. That run should only take 5 minutes for that limited quest. Here as of late, because people do that, that 5-minute run is now taking 7 minutes. You add that up for how many you can fit to an hour, you see how that becomes a problem, becomes an issue. But that's a whole nother, but that's a different topic. It's not a whole nother topic. We're not trying to hop onto that, but we're just elaborating on that. That's the leeching premises and the AFKing premises, and how it can affect, and how negatively it can affect everyone and everything around you. It's very selfish. It's very much saying, hey, my time is better than your time, more important than your time, so please move around. So that's pretty much all of it for this video, y'all. I just want to touch on the AFK. If you have any questions, or if you just want to say hello to me, I'm on Ship One. I'm streaming all the time. Everything's at this name, at Spikes2. So feel free to say hello. Feel free to ask questions, leave comments below on what you think about the AFKing issue in PSO2 New Genesis, and what they can maybe possibly do about it, or how you feel about it. Maybe if some people will read these comments, so we can have some good dialogue, and people can learn in the comments below.
The movie show is now over. Thank you so much for joining us.
And apparently the movie show's now over, so thank you so much for joining us. Hopefully the Dark Falls Ages is coming up next. But y'all have a great day, great night, great whatever. Much love, and I'll see you in the next one. Later.